One of the most underrated bands of all time inside metal is the band from England by the name SKYCLAD, the fathers of the forefathers of folk metal. And in reality, we can speak many hours about folk metal, this genre, but there is folk metal and there are SKYCLAD. Because in my mind, SKYCLAD, they're something, a band and something very, very, very special. They started and unfortunately they're very underrated also in their state of origin inside England. But they became famous in many countries of Europe and especially in Greece. For me also, this is the first band that I listened when I came in connection with metal. And because of them, today I'm a metalist, the metalhead. So today I will try to rank their albums from the worst to best. They have 13 albums. And now I will start, and I'm saying that we have to say also that in SKYCLAD we can separate them in, let's say, 2 or 3 periods. The first period, they're even more thrash metal because they came. Martin Wilker, that many people they think that he is and he was the most important person inside SKYCLAD. He came from a thrash band, a thrash English band by the name Sabbath. And also Ramsey and Inglis, they came from a band of the new wave of British heavy metal by the name Satan. And together they made SKYCLAD. So in the first album of them, even in the second album of them, they are more thrash. From the third album, they're starting to be even more folk. And there, let's say, starts the second period. And the third period is after Welker left the band, and Ramsey and Inglis continue the band until these days. So for me, the worst album of them is the last album of SKYCLAD of 2017. And I'm speaking about the album Forward into the Past. Here they came back with their original logo, with a very good cover of the album, but the album is not exactly that. It's not exactly SKYCLAD. Afterwards, and I know there are many people that they like SKYCLAD and they will be against this opinion. I put the album, their third album, Johan's Ark. Okay, here also we have a very good cover, and this is the first time that they used the original logo of the band. But I don't know why. For me, I'm not so connected with this album. But many people also they put it even in one of their best albums. Afterwards, I put Irrational Anthems. Irrational Anthems is the first album that they started to be more folk and even less metal. Here also we have good songs as the No Deposit, No Return or History Lessons. And it was in the year of 1996. In this year they put also another album. In that year they had 2 albums. And for me, Irrational Anthems, maybe because it's more folkish and even less metal, is not in my heart so much. Also with a very good cover. And now, in the next step, I will put their last album with Martin Welker, and I'm speaking about Folkemon. And many people also they didn't like this album, but I think that it's a good album. And here they tried to be a little bit more heavy in their sound, but it was not so, let's say, so physical for them. And for this reason also there are good songs here, like Purgalgeist, like Think Back and Lie of England, but in any case it's a good album, but not one of their best. Next, I will put their debut album, their first album that is the most thrash album of them, and I'm speaking about the Wayward Sons of Mother Earth. Also here we have good songs like, for example, the Windersins Dig, like Our Dying Island, like SKYCLAD, and Our Dying Island we can say that is even the most thrash song that they wrote until now. Also with their first logo, that they continue with this also in the second album of them. Next, I will put the album one before the last one. I'm speaking about the album In the All Together. Okay, Martin here is not in the album, Martin Welker, but also it's a good album. I can say that it's a good album. We have also good songs here as The Well-Traveled Man, as Black Summer Rain, but it's also a very good album. Okay, it's not exactly like the past SKYCLAD, the past albums of SKYCLAD, but it's a good album. Also, they try to make another logo here. Next step, I will put their second album of 1906, and I'm speaking about the album with a French title, Qui Avant-Garde Agence, if I'm saying that in a correct way. And I prefer it even more than the album Irrational Anthems of the same year. Here we have a very good song as Bonjour. It's a very, very good song, and a game of words also. Next, for me, comes an album that is even the best album of their more folkish period. And I'm speaking about the album The Answer Mancine. Many people also they put this album. Many people that they like SKYCLAD, they put this album even as their best album of all the time, of all discography of SKYCLAD. We have also good songs here, even more folk, but good songs here. For example, Trouble Sometimes is one of my favorite songs of this album, with also a very good cover. Next, I will put their first album without Martin Welker. It took for them 4 years, from 2000, when Martin Welker left the band. And after the 4 years, that we don't know what we have to expect, SKYCLAD put out this album with another logo, with maybe here they didn't want to make connections with their past. The album is in a semblance of normality, and it's a very, very good album. A very good album with very good songs. For example, Another Drinking Song, that's a very good folkish song. The Song of No Involvement, The Parliament of Fools, the 10 Little Kingdoms, very, very good album, with very good songs. Next, I will put The Silent Whales of Lunar Sea of 1905. And for me, it was the second album of metal that I listened in generally. And I can say that is very close to the Prince of Poverty line. For me, is the album that continues the way of the Prince of the Poverty line, with very, very good songs also. Here we have songs as Jeopardy, as Brimstone Ballet, as A Stranger in the Garden, as Another Fine Mess, Terracone Rebellion, Hello of Lies, a very, very good album. Also with another logo, but the album is great. Next, after 3 albums that they try to be even more folk, that they started with this way. They started with Irrational Anthems. SKYCLAD, they are making a backstep, and they are put out an album that is very, very good and even more metal. And I can say that it's a little bit better from The Silent Whales of Lunar Sea. And I'm speaking about the album of 99, Vintage Wine. That also is a very, very good album of SKYCLAD. And now their last 2 ones. In the second place, I will put their second album. Their second album by the name A Burnt Offering for the Bone Idol. Many people here they can say that this is the best SKYCLAD album ever. But for me, it's their second best album. Here we have also very good songs as Spinning Journey, as The Declaration of Indifference. A very good album and continue to be even more for us. But here we can also listen their folk is also way that it became even strong from Jonas Ark and afterwards. And now, my best album of SKYCLAD and one of the best albums of metal in all history of heavy metal. And the first album that from this album I started to listen not only in SKYCLAD but to all metal. The album that because of it I became a metalhead. And I'm speaking about Prince of Poverty of the Poverty line. A very good album. All the songs here are one and one. Civil War Dance, Cardboard City. For me, this is the first hook that because of this song I started to listen even more to the whole album. Sins of a Mission, Land of the Rising Slam, The One Piece Puzzle, Belly Full of Emptiness, and Dog in the Manger, Comedian Seed, Womb of War, The Truth Famine. Every song here is very good. And if someone wants to listen to SKYCLAD and he doesn't know who they are, I am saying to him to start from this album, especially from this album. So, from Israel and from Jerusalem, stay metal and stay heavy.